You know, there is a longer, more celebrated super spy franchise out there than Mission Impossible, known as one James Bond. And, you know, there's always a lot of discourse and discussion around James Bond. Obviously, the number one topic around James Bond, obviously the last couple of years, is who's going to be the next Bond. But what is always there is, what was the best James Bond movie? Well, according to a report coming out, and this is I'm reading this one from CBR. According to a survey conducted in the UK by William Hill Vegas, Craig's acclaimed 2012 entry Skyfall is the best ever James Bond movie. The survey polled 3,500 locals, asking them to name their favorite James Bond film from the best to worst. Skyfall, listen to this. This is surprising to me. Topped the list, attracting 17.5% of the votes, ahead of second place Goldfinger at just 8.5. So that tells me a couple things here. Number one, that is a huge gap between number one and number two. But with the fact that number one is only 17.5 and number two is only 8.5, that tells me that there was a lot of parity amongst all the James Bond films. And then it goes on to says the lowest scoring one was James Bond's was Sean Connery's last film is 007, Never Say Never Again, which only got 0.6%. So now I purposefully asked Rob, who is the James Bond aficionado around here.
We want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of this video, MasterClass. Guys, you know, as a small business owner, I am finding myself having to be in negotiations all the time, whether it's with new contractors, vendors, or even agencies that represent our company. Now, I don't like to go into these negotiations unarmed, so I found the perfect class on MasterClass, The Art of Negotiation by Chris Voss, a real-life former FBI lead hostage negotiator. Taking this class on MasterClass made me feel a lot more equipped and confident going into all these various negotiations I have to do on a regular basis. With MasterClass, you can learn from the best to become your best anytime, anywhere, and at your own pace. An annual membership starts at just $10 a month, and you get unlimited access to every instructor, thousands of online lessons, exclusive content, insight, and much more. There are over 180 classes to pick from, everything from filmmaking with Martin Scorsese all the way to cooking with the great Gordon Ramsay. In MasterClass, you will find practical lessons that you can apply to your life and work. So guys, get unlimited access to every class, and right now, as a John Campea Show listener, you can get 15% off when you go to masterclass.com/Campea. That's masterclass.com/Campea for 15% off an annual membership. masterclass.com/Campea.
I asked Rob specifically, don't read the list. Don't look up what the actual answer was, because I want to know your reaction. So Skyfall got number one by quite a margin. Goldfinger got the number two. Never Say Never Again down at the bottom. What's your reaction to those results?
Okay, it's not surprising. Skyfall is by far the highest grossing James Bond
like
movie
1.1 billion or something.
And you have an Adele theme song, so it's fresh in everyone's mind. I flew to London to see that movie.
That's right, you did.
I am not a big fan of Skyfall, only because in that film, James Bond always fails. And at the end of the movie, he fails in his goal of protecting M. But I understand why people really love it, because it definitely has a Dark Knight vibe to it.
That's
the
true.
character of Silva is very Joker-esque. So, and it's beautifully made. It's gorgeous to look at. Sam Mendes directed it, so I can understand, and it's fresh in people's minds. It's right now, it's still 11 years old. Goldfinger is definitely one of the great classic Bonds at number two. That's respectable. But if I went for a Craig Bond, to me, Casino Royale is the definitive Daniel Craig Bond.
I agree. I agree. 100%.
In Skyfall, he doesn't like being Bond. He's like bitter. He gets shot off a train. He has to come back. And Ray Fiennes is like, well, it's okay to admit if you've missed a step. And it's like, in Casino Royale, Bond is just starting out. He's loving being a 007.
He's got the swagger, the whole bit.
I mean, he's just, and it's more fun to watch. Although I understand, and you've got a Chris Cornell theme song.
And you got Eva Mendes.
Oh my God.
It's not Eva Mendes, I'm sorry.
Eva Green.
Eva Green, sorry.
But Eva,
Eva,
one of the great Evas.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of witty repartee between the two of them when they first meet. And it just, to me, is a more fun, better example of the franchise. And, you know, they were introducing, people forget, but a lot of people, there was a lot of outcry going, Daniel Craig's blue-eyed and blonde-haired. He can't play Bond. And there was a lot of haters.
Oh, yeah.
And you can tell, I mean, I knew in that opening sequence, which is in black and white, when the Bond goes to take this guy out who's bent, and there's the great moment when he finally kills his second kill in the beginning to make himself a 00. And he's like, yeah, it's considerably easier. And then, of course, it's great. And then the Bond theme song hits. It's just, I love Casino Royale. I think it's a great place to start in the Bond franchise for anybody who wants to see the movies. But you know what? Skyfall, I just object to it because it's about an old, gruff, angry Bond who fails all the time. Whereas Casino Royale, newly minted Bond, kicks ass.
Let me ask you, what do you think about the one that came in last place, about Never Say Never Again coming in?
Well, it's not an official, it's an official Bond movie, but it came out the same year as Octopussy in 1983. I think that there's it was directed by Irvin Kershner, who directed Empire Strikes
Empire
Back.
Strikes Back.
It's not, Connery's not bad in it. Klaus Maria Brandauer is great as the villain. Barbara Carrera as the villainess is good. There's a lot in it to like, but the music score by Michel Legrand is not great. And it's a remake of Thunderball, so it feels familiar.
All right, guys, question is, what do you think about that? The UK film fans are saying that Skyfall, I agree with Rob. I mean, I think if you're going to go with a Daniel Craig era thing, actually my overall favorite James Bond film is Casino Royale. But
it's so good.
It's so good, but it won by quite a margin. Hey guys, thanks for watching our video. Make sure you like and subscribe, but also we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show Podcast, available on your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and find it, the John Campea Show Podcast, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your preferred podcasting app.